Obama stressed that government regulation has to be part of the answer. In his speech, Obama praised the aggressive social media censorship that the European Union is currently pursuing through its Digital Services Act, or DSA. Said Obama,
"The way I'm going to evaluate any proposal touching on social media and the internet is whether it strengthens or weakens the prospects for a healthy, inclusive democracy."
It would be difficult.
Well, no, there is no inclusive. You don't have an inclusive democracy if you're not included. You don't have any inclusion. You just don't have inclusion. So it's not actually inclusive. What it actually is exclusive, excluding certain people. Now, that's what the Public Meeting Act is supposed to do in England. The England Public Meeting Act is supposed to make it so that as long as you're not breaking any laws as long as it's lawful, then no one, not even the government or anyone, can exclude anyone from a meeting or from laying evidence or facts in a meeting as long as they're not breaking the law. The problem with all these platforms is that the government set the law, and in many instances no one's breaking the law, but the platforms are making all these new policies which you can't do this or have that on, which aren't the law, and they're getting treated as if they're breaking the law when they're not breaking the law. It's actually lawful. And what these politicians have got is they've done all these negotiations with these platforms, and what they're actually doing is they're enforcing something which isn't really the law. So it's actually lawful in order to try and change attitudes and opinions so they can actually make it so, once they've stopped everyone from doing it, then everyone gets used to it and doesn't complain, and then they can make it illegal to do all those things when it isn't even illegal, including a lot of the opposition and criticism, which you need to be able to have an opinion anyway, a free opinion as an individual with insight in your own conscience, in respect to persons, with respect to persons' own opinion and conscience. So the American government, as far as I'm concerned, is astoundingly criminal at the moment. That Kamala Harris is saying, everything's dangerous, when it's not. They've actually got these platforms enforced way further than the law, right? Now, if all of that is dangerous, how come it's still illegal? Because if they did it before they'd actually persuaded people to go along with it, people wouldn't stand for it and they'd get voted out. That's why, they're actually breaking the law of the Public Meeting Act in England on YouTube and on Facebook, and even the platforms are committing a criminal offence by encouraging it, and even encouraging people to get more authoritarian in their own moderating. They're giving people powers which actually aren't even the law, and they're just wielding and throwing these powers. Now everyone won't even put a post up anywhere till it's all checked and verified by these people who aren't even qualified to check it. And some of them are rejecting posts when it's just, they just don't like it themselves. And even when they define their own group rules, and you haven't even broken any written rule, they're just, if that person doesn't like it, that they're rejecting it on a whim. That means that the basis of what these people like Obama and Kamala Harris are pushing for is an unwritten constitution, an unwritten law, a whimsical law where it's purely on their own opinion and authority in any given moment or instance, regardless of the written rules, whether the rules are a policy of a platform or the law of the constitution. Actually, what these moderators tend to be doing now is just, you haven't broken any written rule of their group, and they just personally decide that they're not going to allow you to post it. Now, that is an absolute, complete and total... How does anyone know what they can and can't do, or what they what's going to be liked or not liked, if it's not written down? you're actually going on purely on that person's own opinion or conscience. Now, when you've got 20 different moderators in a group and they've all got a different opinion of what they like individually, you've got to post something purely on that person, get to know that person. What are they going to like and what are they not going to like? And what that actually is you are kind of bootlicking someone. You've got someone like Obama, and it's all, what does Obama like? What does Obama not like? Will he like this president? Will he like that president? Will he like this comment? It's almost like going to a party. You've been invited to one of these people's parties, and you've got to say and do everything to keep them happy, or what they are going to like or not like. And there is no more rules on the wall at the party, party rules, house rules. There aren't any house rules because, and I think this is how these people live. Even Trump, I think that they're wanting to treat us like they're paid servants, like, the servants at Trump Towers, the staff, the servants at Mar-a-Lago, at the golf course, or the dinner. Maybe even Senator Ron Paul has this, attitude. I don't know. But what it basically comes down to effectively is like, you're the paid slaves and it's company policy, and you will say this at work, you will say that at work, you will not do this or that at work. And even not when it's policy, it's a miracle that there's still employment laws where staff are challenging. It's a miracle in England that people still actually have some law left, which they're even allowed to use to challenge their employers. Tony Blair was meant to be this famous employment lawyer before he was Prime Minister. It's an absolute miracle that any staff in England or in America can even challenge an unlawful dismissal, mainly just because they want to try and keep people employed and keep them working. And Jeff Bezos with all his cameras everywhere and everything. These people are actually megalomaniacs, psychopathic, and they're desperately trying to get this. They believe that people should be their servants, and that's going back to slavery. And in fact, it's disgusting coming from Obama. The whole thing about freeing slaves in metal manacles. What Obama's proposing is that we have electronical manacles instead. Instead of having them attached to your hands and feet, and people physically walking around. But by the time he's finished with his police robot dogs and his tasers and his drones, Obama really is quite mind-blowing. For a guy that came up with a website called We the People, so you can petition the government, a guy who's interested in politics and political causes and political... The people being able to, suggest their own political actions and so forth, collect signatures on it, and a guy who used to bring 10 petitions, ask his staff to bring 10 petitions for him to read every night, see what people were asking for. I'm starting to think that Obama is a racist, and I'm starting to think that Obama got himself into a position in government, like the first, black, half-caste black guy to be president in America. And actually he's reading these petitions, what these citizens are begging for, just like a power trip, now I'm a black guy in power, let's see what all these white guys are begging for, what are they begging for? What are they begging the president of the United States of America for? Let's read some bootlickers. Now I'm the boss man now. Now I'm the big boss man. I'm in charge. I'm Obama now. I'm the president of the United States of America now. What are you begging for, huh? White boy? What are you begging for, white boy? Now, yeah. Let me read some petitions. What these people are begging for. I'm starting to think that that's what his kind of general attitude was. Rather than this kind of ideological, we freed the slaves, we made it fair, and now I was able to even achieve this amazing position of president in a fair country, and now let's have a We the People website to embody democracy, which Trump took down. I'm starting to think there's an element of Obama, a caricature, a darker side of Obama, which kind of was, now that he got to this powerful position, almost looking at the petitions, to see what people are begging for, almost kind of like out of a power trip, that's kind of like a way you could look at it. I'm not saying that that's the truth, but I'm saying that it's starting to have a flavour of that, if you ask me, rather than this frontage of pure, we the people, for the people, by the people, for the people. And obviously, the more and more the Democratic Party has tainted him, I think the worse it's going to get.
Difficult to overstate just how radical Obama's proposal is. America's had a standard for evaluating speech since 1789. It's the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It is famously unqualified. It says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. That sentence is not followed by so long as it does not weaken the prospects for a healthy, inclusive democracy. It's inconceivable that Obama does not know this. After all, he was the president of a Harvard Law Review. Obama implicitly recognized that what he was proposing may be unconstitutional. The solution? Amend the Constitution.
If you think about the U.S. Constitution as software for running a society, really innovative design. It too had some pretty big initial bugs. So we came up with a bunch of patches. The 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment.
No, Obama, that couldn't be further from the truth, Obama. Your statement is absolute tosh. It's complete and total jargon. I've never heard as much bollock in my entire life living on this planet as an intellectual human being with a fair opinion, right? Obama, the Constitution was not software. It's the motherboard. It's the hardware because it says Congress shall make no law. That is not software. That is the hardware. That is the hardware that no program or software shall be written to do this or that, Obama, right? And the new Constitution didn't have any bugs in it at all. It prevented people like kings from becoming kings and royal families from being established and taking over and invading and taking over. Like landing on the shores and saying, this is my country now and so forth, or certain groups and parties saying, this is our entire country, Obama. Every single person in America, Obama, right, could vote and write down whatever name they wanted. 2 names, one from their state and one from out of their state. And that encouraged inclusion and diversity and was a fair and open competition across the entire United States. And to make it absolutely fair and run with integrity without being corrupted, they did it so that the staff of the government, the ones who operated the mechanics of it, the polling stations, the mail delivery within the government, the officers of state, didn't vote. So then they couldn't be corrupted for either one side or the other side. They were impartial and they couldn't cast a vote. Now, if you want to vote, right, then don't get a job in government. If you want to, you can either choose to be one of the voters. What character do you want to be in this game? Do you want to be one of the citizens who goes to work and votes? Or would you like to work for the government, which is meant to be the authority which runs the mechanics, right? It counts the ballots. It counts the ballots that other people have voted for. Do you want to, what role do you want? This is the thing, right? Get a job in government. Your job is to run the machinery, right? Not cast the votes. There's nothing wrong with that model because you don't have to work in government. You can choose to be a citizen with a normal job, right? If you prefer a different role, like people like to volunteer for charities for free, or actually, I'll help out, I'll count the ballots, How about, everyone vote? There's plenty of people in America. There's plenty of people in all of the states. We're not short of voters. You lot vote and we'll do the counting, or you can count and we'll do the voting, right? Stopping them being corrupt. And what's happened now is Biden particularly, but more all the way through gradually, they started to introduce encouraging voting of the staff. Now, what happens when you've got people investigating crimes, investigating the police force, the military, counting ballots, running the railroads with the ballots in them, all that? If you get them onto your side to be Democrats, what happens when you challenge them Democrats legally? Then those parties, those voters who are all up Obama's backside are going to defend Obama because they support him. I've never heard from Obama as much absolute complete tosh ever. It didn't have any bugs in it. What it had is it had an absolute, perfected, pure, fair and unbiased process. And then when people started getting rich and money, they wanted to control it. And that's when the bugs came in. It got hacked. In fact, what actually happened is they had a amazing idea for a constitution and it got hacked by big business, by corporate, by these political parties. Obama is, if anyone needs to be banned from misinformation, it's Obama. I swear on Almighty God that it is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This man is talking absolute and complete total tosh. He's a spinmeister, a jargon meister, and he's been in too many swimming pool parties with Branson. He's had far too many lavish cocktail parties and drinks, and he thinks he's far too important. And I actually now don't believe that his We the People website was that honestly installed. I'm now starting to think that there's a flavour of Obama which was in the White House thinking, I'm an achieved, successful, half-caste guy, the president of America. Now let's see what some of these white boys are begging for, now I'm the big boss man. I don't think that he did the We the People site purely for the people, or if he did, because it actually was constitutional and people could have fair political opinion and get signatures for things they wanted to get done, which is what the people of the country want, regardless of whether he likes the ideas or not. Donald Trump definitely shut that thing down. People were proposing things that these people weren't interested in. But at the end of the day, if people sign, if people support it and you get enough signatures, then surely it proves that it's what people are interested in, or they've got enough evidence to show it. This is the thing, So, it's sad, tragic and unfortunate that Obama has showed his true colours, which is not democratic. You'd have thought that Hillary Clinton, who's meant to be this professor of politics, if she was so democratic and vouched for politics and is on the phone to the White House every day, where's the new We the People website? Where's the new petition website? Why aren't all this, Robert F. Kennedy said that they got a lot of the law students at universities in America practicing their legal education, trying test cases against environmental pollution, just to help train them when they come out of university so they can learn to do legal cases. So they got the students doing test cases against pollution environment. Why haven't they got them doing test cases coming out of the universities for upholding the Constitution and for standing up for political rights of the campaigners and so forth, and free speech? That's the thing what I'm wondering now in England. Where are all the university graduates in law in England, like this Professor Karen Bowie, who's in Glasgow University and and Dr. Brodie Waddell, who's researched all the petition material and knows the ins and outs of all of what people were petitioning about. So he should have a really strong insight on what the law really was, or what the people thought the law was back in the day, to help prove what it actually truly is and means, and all the research from all the Courts of Civil Requests cases under the tumultuous 1661 Act, Public Act 13, Charles I, of what the process in the courts was for getting consent for petitioning, and the immunities and parliament privileges of Sir Thomas Erskine May. Why isn't the Attorney General of England, if he's not taking sides with any political party? We've got pro bono in England, but all the pro bono staff are lawyers who work at chambers full-time in their normal job and who are all either Tory or Labour supporters, and have got, they're not going to, in their spare time for free, they're not going to eliminate their full-time job in, rights law, when you can't really have any rights law if you're protected, because, you can't be prosecuted. Why isn't the Attorney General of England right now speaking to the Education Secretary and doing a project like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, and getting all university students in law, the ones who aren't studying to be prosecutors at least, to be using all the information that Professor Karen Bowie's teams are studying, and Dr. Brodie Waddell and people like that, and doing cases for Extinction Rebellion or Just Stop Oil or other groups like Stop ULEZ or whatever, in that. Because, we've got all these legally privileged items and information. We've got all these Town and Country Planning Act stuff, which was completely and totally ignored by the prosecutors. That's what I want to know. Seeing as it's meant to be it's in the public interest to have Parliament privileges clarified. It's in the public interest when you're acting, getting signatures from the public. When you're getting signatures from the public, that's in the public's interest because they've signed it, right? Why aren't we doing that in England? Why isn't Hillary Clinton doing that in America? Because she's part of a political party that wants to take over the world. She's not educating students and teaching them democracy and do their own independent cases to we the people and fighting for freedom of speech. What she's actually doing is actually telling them that we shouldn't have freedom of speech. They should all be, politicians for the Democrats and take over the world. This is a psychopathic woman who, is on the phone to the White House every day on a bat phone. The only phone that Hillary Clinton should have a direct line to is the Samaritans or a shrink. That is the only phone that Hillary Clinton should have. They should have someone picking the phone up to Hillary Clinton 5 times a day and have her ankle tagged to make sure that she's not phoning the White House up, that she stays away from the White House and she's not allowed to be a member of a political party or organisation in politics. She's not allowed to go near any students or universities. She probably shouldn't even be allowed to vote. And then she will be starting to learn about, campaigning for freedom of speech and the right to petition. That then she'd be campaigning for it, if they were checking up on her every day. Probably why the White House are actually ringing her up, to make sure what she's up to. If I was Senator Rand Paul, I would have a, cooked. I would have a fried like an egg on the table. People like that need to be banned from. Those are the type of people who need to be banned from politics. The people who try and take over it, like these two main parties have taken over, and now they've got their own private convention, their own private party, which the public don't even participate in. And then they hatch these eggs, that they mint this coin for the big grand event. Flick the coin, the minted coin. King Charles, the coin, the minted royal coin, the thing that the whole American Constitution was supposed to avoid and prevent from happening, the royals taking over. Now, the public don't propose or vote for their nominees from the states and have a fair open competition for the United States, which they could easily facilitate and count with modern technology. No. Now, these two political parties have hijacked the whole thing, and they hatch these two eggs, mint this coin, which then the public can flick the giant coin. Ooh, the privilege of flicking a giant coin. Ooh, the suspense is killing me. The suspense is killing me. Who's it gonna be? It takes the entire United States of America to pick the fucking coin up and flick the cunt. It's almost like never mind a fucking, a sovereign or something. It's like pick up the giant, it's literally like, they say that all the gold on the planet could fill, 3 Olympic swimming pools. It's almost like they got all that gold and minted it into one big coin with Kamala Harris on one side and Donald Trump on the other side. Wouldn't Bill Gates like to get his hands on that coin? Oh, yes. Look at this bill. 3 Olympic swimming pools worth of giant gold coin, and now Elon's made this big robot arm. Ooh, Elon, the genius, has made a big robot arm that can flick it, but it needs to connect to all of the citizens. There's not enough battery power. There's not enough nuclear power. You have to plug electrodes onto every citizen of America to get the battery power out of them all to power this big grabber arm and flick the royal coin. It could even have an eagle on one side of it. Flick the coin. Who's going to win? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Who could it possibly be? I've got no idea who's going to win. It could be anyone. It's a fair competition. It's 50-50. Who minted that baby? Who hatched that egg? Flick the coin. The suspense is killing me. It's like roulette. You can only bet on. Oh, it's roulette. Pick a number. Oh no, I'm sorry, sir. You can't bet on the numbers. Well, that's why has it got all the numbers around the edge, all the United different states of America. Oh, no, sorry, sir, the numbers are closed today. You can't bet on the numbers. They put stickers over them all. You can only bet on red or black, It's the negotiator. When I gamble, I always bet on black or red. So you can have red or black. We cover the numbers up around the roulette wheel. You can only have red or black now. It's like this. We've covered the stars up. You can only bet on the stripes. You can have a white stripe or a red stripe. You can bet on the red stripe or the white stripe. The suspense is killing me. Who could it possibly be? All these, Americans. Apparently, it's a land of hope and glory. But apparently, there's only 2 people worthy enough, competent enough, capable enough of being the president now. Out of all these, young, healthy, intelligent, diverse, ethnically diverse, fair, multi-religious nation of the free. But when it comes down to it, these intelligent, diverse, healthy, inclusive people that Obama's talking about apparently can't just write down 2 names simply, one from in-state and one from out-of-state, one from home, one from away. No. Obama will hatch the egg. No one's hacking this baby. No one's hacking into this egg. It's flick the coin, Obama. The genius of it all. Has a man ever talked as much complete and total absolute bollock? Obama should be arrested for even proposing taking away free speech, because currently in the Constitution it says that Congress can't make any law. It's actually illegal for it to do it. So I can't see how these people can propose to do it, because what he's actually doing is proposing to do something illegal and unconstitutional currently. And what he's trying to do is wipe out what they've actually done with the social media platforms now is that there's the law, and then they've made the platforms take down things that aren't even illegal because they want to try to change people's opinion gradually over time so they can change the law. So they've made the platforms take down loads of these things which aren't illegal in order to try start changing things. But there's nothing that says that it's illegal to do that except the freedom of speech. It's in the American Constitution. It says that Congress shan't make any law and can't make any law, right? But it hasn't said that about other things. It never said that, Congress can't make a law about... It didn't say that it can't make a law about tweaking or changing the elections, which they did. But it does say that you can't actually take away the free speech. Now, the thing with Obama is that he's proposing and he's trying to get people to go along with that, to do it. And I would suggest that actually is what... Isn't that what... the government's now arresting people for thought crimes, or in Scotland, in their houses because they're saying or thinking things, this guy on the stage, he's actually a criminal under American law, because it's almost kind of like you can't actually go near it. You can't actually... The thing with Donald Trump, when he led all those people or whatever to the White House and there was all that stuff kicking off and they arrested everyone, for apparently trying to overthrow the American government or whatever at the White House, because apparently, you're not even allowed to think or do that. Well, what happens if those people wanted to change the law on that? Well, they're not letting them go anywhere near changing the law on that, because even if they try and think about it, apparently it's a crime or plotting to. But Obama seems to be miraculously immune from this process of, it says that Congress shall never ever be able to make any law, right? It's actually a crime. But I